Entrepreneurs aren't born, they are made through failures, breakthroughs, and relentless hustle. Welcome to the Empowered Entrepreneur TV show. This is your host Rohit Soni, airing across 185 countries, 26 plus TV networks, 100 plus podcast stations. This is where visionaries share their unfiltered journeys, strategies, and game changing insights. Your success story starts here. This is more than just a show, it's a movement. Watch, learn, and elevate. So, hello and welcome back to the Empower Entrepreneur TV show. This is your host Rohit Soni, and today I'm with a very special guest. But before I get the guest on the stage, I just want to talk to you about why relationships drive real success, which is the topic of our conversation today, right? Today on the Empower Entrepreneur, we are joined by Ken Sher, a leadership coach with over 25 years of experience at Johnson & Johnson, where he developed a deep understanding of what truly drives long-term success inside organization. After decades of working with leaders and clients at one of the world's most respected companies, Ken discovered a powerful truth. Success isn't built on strategy alone. It's built on trust. Today, through his coaching work, he helps professionals and leaders develop practical, personalized, and actionable ways to build stronger relationships, improve performance, and create sustainable success. His philosophy is simple but powerful. Trust is the foundation of great relationship, and great relationships are key to success. In saying that, I would love to have Ken on the stage. Hi, Ken. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well, Rohit. Thank you very much. I appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely, brother. So, yeah, before we take a deeper dive into what you do, how you have been helping people worldwide, how about we just start with a little bit back about your journey, how you started everything, your mission and vision behind it?
Yes, absolutely. So, as you mentioned, I spent 25 years at Johnson and Johnson. I had a number of different sales and marketing leadership roles. I also led sales recruiting for a couple of years here in the U.S., and I led 3 different sales training and leadership development teams. And throughout that, Johnson & Johnson actually has a very good reputation for leadership development. So I feel very fortunate. I got it growing up in the company. And then, as I mentioned, I led teams where we designed, developed, and delivered leadership training to different levels of J&J. And that background is really what led me to ultimately starting my own coaching practice in 2015.
Awesome. And in saying that, what was that aha moment that you felt, Ken, at the start of your career, that you felt you were made for this? What was that, something, in your heart of heart, something happens and you feel, okay, I'm made for
Yeah.
this, right? What was that?
Yeah, I just felt, early on in my career, I started out at J&J actually as a sales rep, and I was doing my thing there, and things were going well. And actually, at the time, I was working for women's healthcare, and one of the things that hit me was that I wasn't just selling a product; I was actually helping people change their lives. I was selling birth control pills, but it was more than just the pill. It was helping people to control their reproductive system so that women can go to work if they want to or stay home if they want to and have babies. But it gave them control. And it made me realize that it's never about a product or a process or anything like that. It's really about the people and getting to how can you positively impact people's lives. And in all the levels of leadership that I've had, and even in my coaching now, that's what really drives me, is helping people live a better life, both professionally, which I think impacts them personally as well.
Absolutely. And listen, I would love to take a deeper dive into this topic right out of the gate because, Ken, you believe trust is the foundation of success, right? Why is it that so critical in today's business environment? Trust. Everyone say this word. According to you, why is it the key to everything? And how it translates into revenue, into long-term work, into retaining, and every aspect.
Yeah, I think it is so critical. Part of it is because there's so little of it in the world today. Whether you talk about politics or you talk about just a lot of social interactions, or even business to business, business to consumers. there's just that lack of trust. And when you have a lack of trust, that makes things very transactional, and that makes things much more difficult because it's I got to convince you on this one issue and then move on. And every time it's like starting again. But if you develop those good trusting relationships, you have an ongoing business. You have much more of a opportunity for long-term success than that short-term success that comes when you just get whatever you can get.
And why do so many leaders focus on speed, scale, and growth, but overlook trust? Is that a trend, or like according to you, what's up on that?
Yeah, I think the main reason for that is people are very focused on the bottom line. And I do understand that. I mean, we're in business to make money, and the bottom line is the key. But I think if you focus on the end result without focusing on how you get there, the relationships you build, the processes you have in place, the interactions you have along the way, if you do that, again, you're much less likely to have long-term success, and you only have short-term success. It takes a lot of courage though for a leader to tell either their stockholders or the board of directors or the leaders, other leaders, to say, look, we may not move so quickly, we may not have that big hit right now, but we're building something that will sustain us for the long term. And that then there has to be trust in that relationship too, where someone will say, okay, I trust you, take the lead and do what you got to do, and I know you'll get to that end result.
Awesome. And before we go into the break, I just want to know one more thing. How does trust impact performance, communication, and long-term results? And why do you think it's missing currently? Is there a specific reason about that in the current organizations of the world that we live in?
Yeah, I think, when you look at the employment market, I think globally, it's very unstable and people are concerned about their jobs. So when there's not trust, then people withdraw into themselves. They don't share new ideas, they don't take initiative, they don't take chances because they're afraid to fail. But when you have that trust, people know they could speak up and they could disagree with the boss, so they could bring a new idea forward and know that even if that idea isn't taken up, it's respected and their opinion matters. So I think that trust is just key in terms of allowing people to be themselves and bring their best selves to the table.
Absolutely. In saying that, Ken, we have to run into a quick break. But when we come back, everyone, we'll talk about Ken's lessons in Johnson and Johnson, and yes, how he is currently helping world with everything that he works for, everything he stands for, and on top of that, what his coaching programs look like. So be there. We'll see you after this minute. As a coach or a consultant, your focus should be on transforming lives, not struggling to get clients. That's where my company Amplify Media comes in to help you not just scale your business, but to consistently give you the revenue that your business deserves. We actually build a done-for-you lead generation acquisition system that brings in clients consistently so that you don't have to worry about where the next client is coming in. You focus on the most important thing that is scaling your business and impacting your own coaching clients. From high impact marketing and scroll stopping content to expert funnel creation, we take your business from point A to point B with precision. Coaches and consultants worldwide trust the company. We have over 277 plus clients, case studies all around the world, help tons and tons of businesses scale. So your next level is waiting. Let's make your brand unforgettable and visit the website today. I would love to offer you a free strategy session to share with you how we can help scale your business. Thank you. So hello everyone, welcome back to the Empowered Entrepreneur TV show. This is your host Rohit Soni. I'll get my guest on the stage again, Ken. I've been loving this conversation so far because we have taken a deeper dive into trust, organization, and how it impacts in more ways that people can understand and imagine in today's world. And trust is key. There's someone, when I started my business back in 2020, someone told me, my first client, and his name is Ken D. Foster, right? He told me, Rohit, either I trust you or I don't. There's no middle way. And I think if we have this attitude, makes our life easier, because if my employee or someone in my team tells me something, I'm going to trust them right out of the gate. I won't take that as an excuse. I'll just get it, right? If there's trust, everything else becomes easy.
Yes, I agree.
You know what to do. The main thing is sorted. You just gotta work on the back end, right? Okay. And it's thing that let's talk about your journey, right? During your 25 years at Johnson and Johnson, what were some of the most defining moments that shaped your understanding of trust?
Yeah, and that's a great question because that really is the root of my belief in trust so much. And at Johnson and Johnson, and by the way, I preface this by saying no company is perfect. We know that, right? But I think J&J really tries, and they usually do the best they can. So they have something called Our Credo. And it's a one-page, four-paragraph document that talks about its responsibilities to different stakeholders. The first paragraph is about the responsibility to the healthcare workers and the patients they serve, giving them safe and effective products. The second paragraph is about the responsibility to employees, giving them a safe environment to work in at a fair wage. The third paragraph is about the responsibility to the communities they serve and giving back to the communities and being good stewards of the environment. And the last responsibility is to stockholders. And what's really interesting about that is it was written by General Robert Wood Johnson, who at the time was the only stockholder. But he knew if he built the right relationships with those other three stakeholders, he would be taken care of. And for the last 90 years, J&J has paid quarterly dividends to all the stockholders. Now, sometimes people say, oh, that's nice. We have that in our company. It looks great on the wall in the corporate office. But J&J, a great example, and this is really what really had it sink into me, into my heart, how valuable trust is, happened in the 1980s. You may be familiar with the Tylenol scare, where some crazy person in Chicago, Illinois, in the United States took out the acetaminophen in the Tylenol capsules and they put cyanide in, and 6 people in the Chicago area died. And Johnson & Johnson, they had a decision to make. What do we do? Do we launch an advertising campaign with all the statistics telling patients it's safe, so many people have used it safely? Do they launch a campaign to doctors and healthcare workers with the same messaging? Or do they just ignore it, let it blow over? But what they did was they looked at that document, Our Credo, first responsibilities to the doctors and the patients they serve. And they decided to pull Tylenol from the shelf, tell everybody, stop taking it, get your money back if you have some at home, and we'll put it back on the shelves when it's safe again. And when they did put it back on the shelves with the first tamper-resistant bottle, it quickly became the number one over-the-counter painkiller again, because J&J never lost the trust they had built with their consumers. Their consumers knew J&J is not going to put profit above my safety. I'm going to stick with that company, not just for Tylenol, but for Johnson & Johnson baby powder, Band-Aids, pharmaceuticals, etc. And so to me, that's the key. Without that trust, J&J might not be the company it is today.
I completely agree because it's all about, having the trust initially, making sure the customers are there, making sure we are authentic, whatever we are selling is authentic, right? And I think that's where it's one of the best today, right? Can you also share like a specific story where trust made or broke a relationship or outcome? And obviously we're talking about something, like in your professional career, all these two
Yeah.
interviews.
Yeah, again, it's a J&J story. I was in a leadership development program, and we had a 2-day event at Johnson Johnson headquarters. And the vice chairman of J&J, the number 2 person in charge, he came to speak with us, and he gave us an assignment and put us into breakouts to, and the question was, should J&J pay the highest salary in the industry, or should we be more in the middle to our employees? And the position that I took and that my group ultimately took was, if we want to bring the best talent in, we should pay the best. So I was the one chosen to present to the vice chairman, again, the number 2 person, and I presented it, and he asked me a couple of questions. He challenged me, and somebody in my group said, I just have to say, I don't agree with the approach that Ken just said. I think we should be mid-range in what we pay. And I was thinking, and I actually even said, I said, that's interesting, because when we were in the group deciding this, you were in agreement. Like, why are you disagreeing with me now in front of this chairman? And anyway, that person, I could never trust them again, because they could tell me one thing to my face, and yet I didn't know what they really believed and what they would do when it was really important. So I think part of trust is keeping your word. Part of trust is supporting the people you say you're going to support, and not blindly, but you've got to be honest with them if you don't agree with them and not just throw them under the bus when it seems like the time to do that.
Well, that's how things are, right? Sometimes it's broken, sometimes it's kept, but when it's kept, it's one of the best moments. When it's broken, we always learn something, right? Okay. And how did those experiences influence the way you coach leaders today? Because those have must have changed how you thought, must have understood more in terms of human behavior. So how they changed you along the way?
Yeah, well, it changed me in that I'd like to think beforehand I was always trustworthy, but it made me realize that you've got to speak your mind. You've got to be honest with people, even if it's an uncomfortable situation, even if if it creates some sort of conflict. But if you do it from a place of caring, if you do it from a place of objectivity where it's nothing personal, I'm talking about facts, and here's what I see. So with my coaches, there are sometimes I have to call them on things that they are not doing right. I had one client who said, I was asked by his leadership to coach him because they thought he had high potential, but he had a lot of conflict with people. And in one of our coaching sessions, he told me about a situation, and he told me how he called someone out at the table, and he said his boss gave him a hard time afterwards. And he said to me, what do you think? Wasn't I right? And I said, well, I think maybe you were right in your message, but how you delivered it was not right. And if you did that with me, I would have been very upset about it as well. And so it wasn't a personal thing. It was based on a factual situation. So in my coaching and how I coach my clients to be with their key stakeholders, you've just got to be honest, you got to be objective, and you've got to tell people what you're really thinking. And when you give that level of authenticity, that helps to build trust as well.
Absolutely. And in saying that, we got to run into another quick break, everyone. And I know we are loving this conversation, but we'll come back, and then that's where Ken will share all about his, work, all about his programs, his current coaching packages, and everything that you need to know to work with Ken. Right? So I'll see everyone right after this quick break. As a coach or a consultant, your focus should be on transforming lives, not struggling to get clients. That's where my company Amplify Media comes in to help you not just scale your business, but to consistently give you the revenue that your business deserves. We actually build a done-for-you lead generation acquisition system that brings in clients consistently so that you don't have to worry about where the next client is coming in. You focus on the most important thing that is scaling your business and impacting your own coaching clients. From high-impact marketing and scroll-stopping content to expert funnel creation, we take your business from point A to point B with precision. Coaches and consultants worldwide trust the company. We have over 277 plus clients, case studies all around the world, help tons and tons of businesses scale. So your next level is waiting. Let's make your brand unforgettable and visit the website today. I would love to offer you a free strategy session to share with you how we can help scale your business. Thank you. So, hello everyone. Welcome back to the Empower Entrepreneur TV show. I'll get my guest again on the stage. Here it is, Ken. Like I said, we are loving this conversation, but now we need to love and understand what you are doing and how you're impacting the world. So you can just share with us how to connect with you, any current packages you have in store for our audience, and what they can learn if they were to work with you, right?
Okay, great. Thank you, Rohit. So, as you've mentioned before, I truly believe that trust is the foundation of great relationships, and great relationships are the key to success. And I believe so much in it that I built what I call the trust success model. And trust, I use trust as an acronym. It stands for transparency, results, understanding, simplicity, and teams. And I believe that each aspect of that model can really help leaders to connect with their key stakeholders, whether it's their direct reports, their peers and colleagues, or their clients, to form the kind of relationships that'll give them long-term success. And I do that through my coaching, my one-on-one coaching. I also do keynote speaking where I guess the feedback I've received most often after I speak is people appreciate that I provide them with practical ideas that they could go use immediately to improve their relationships and their leadership. And then I also have a book called What's Trust Got to Do with It? That's transforming leadership, culture, and the job search. So there are various ways that I work with people, whether it's one-on-one, whether it's through workshops talking about how teams can develop trust with each other, or through keynote speaking. And each of those, I think, have different pluses that can help people, again, be better leaders and advance their career if that's what they're looking to do.
Awesome. So what I'll also do is I'll drop all the links to connect with you, your LinkedIn link, your book link, and just so that people connect. And if they want to have a conversation, they can directly have a clarity session with you and to discover a bit more about your service and your journey and how, they can be helped while working with Ken. And saying that, Ken, I want to know some more things, right? What is the connection between trust, burnout, and leadership behavior, and how does that impact any organization build strong relationships?
Trust and I'm sorry, as a leadership behavior, you said? Yeah. Well, I think it's key. I mentioned earlier that the employment market is very challenging. So on one hand, people may feel stuck in one place, but even if they feel like they can't go anywhere, if they don't have trust in leadership, that leadership has their best interests in mind, that leadership has sound strategies and tactics to be successful, has a good vision, it's hard for them to put themselves completely into their work. That's an environment where people will go in, put their heads down, get their work done, and leave. When you have a good trusting relationship, when leaders are really trusted, that's where you have people who are fully engaged in their work. You'll hear people speaking up more at meetings. You'll see people taking initiative or coming up with innovative ideas. You'll see people who think not only about themselves and their job, but of the bigger picture and how they can help the company as a whole beyond just doing well in their own role. But if there's not trust there, people are not willing to put themselves into it like that. And that's understandable. Why do that for a leadership team or a person who really doesn't care about you, whether you succeed or not?
Love that. And on top of that, what I've also seen is that trust isn't just key, it's the core foundation to make sure everyone's aligned. Because if there's no trust, we don't know what's happening, right? And saying that, what are some simple, practical ways leaders can start building trust immediately? Like if you could give us 3 or 4 tips.
Well, you had mentioned earlier too about trusting employees and letting them, if they come to you with an idea, let them go with it. I think first of all, we all do due diligence before we hire someone. So I think what I see as a downside is sometimes people do that, but then they micromanage and they tell the person what to do and they don't allow the person to do anything without their permission. So I think one of the things you can do is you train the person so that they do the job, they know exactly what the job is, and let them do their job. Trust that they're going to make the right decisions. Certainly, you're not going to forget about them. You got to coach them and give them feedback, but it should be supportive and it should reinforce the fact that you are empowering them to do the job you hired them to do. And then I think one other thing, and I could go into each aspect of my trust model, but for the sake of time, I won't. But the U in my trust model is about understanding. And I think a leader who takes the time to understand the person that's working for them, where are they coming from? Where do they want to go with their career? Do they want to stay in that role and be a great individual contributor? Do they want to rise in the company? What is it they want? And if you as a leader can tap into that and help them achieve their individual goals and support them as best you can, that's going to build trust. And I strongly suggest to my clients that you have regularly scheduled one-on-one meetings with your employees so that you're constantly in touch with them about that. It's not about the work in those meetings, the 30-minute meetings, maybe twice a month. It's about how are you doing? What's getting in the way of your success? How can I help you? And you'll also learn some personal things there. They don't have to give up personal things, but when you know something about their personal life too, you can help them even more and show them that you really care about their success.
Love that. Very good advice for someone like me. Okay, awesome. So yeah, Ken, we got to run into another quick break. Okay, but when we'll come back, we'll have an amazing rapid fire for you. Okay, so we'll see everyone after this quick break. As a coach or a consultant, your focus should be on transforming lives, not struggling to get clients. That's where my company Amplify Media comes in to help you not just scale your business, but to consistently give you the revenue that your business deserves. We actually build a done-for-you lead generation acquisition system that brings in clients consistently so that you don't have to worry about where the next client is coming in. You focus on the most important thing that is scaling your business and impacting your own coaching clients. From high impact marketing and scroll stopping content to expert funnel creation, we take your business from point A to point B with precision. Coaches and consultants worldwide trust the company. We have over 277 plus clients, case studies all around the world, help tons and tons of businesses scale. So your next level is waiting. Let's make your brand unforgettable and visit the website today. I would love to offer you a free strategy session to share with you how we can help scale your business. Thank you. So hello everyone, welcome back to the Empowered Entrepreneur TV show. This is your host Rohit Soni, and I know it's the last segment. I know you want to stay everyone, but we gotta go, right? But in saying that, before we go, Ken, I have a quick fun rapid fire for you. So I'll start with that right now. One behavior that instantly builds trust.
I would say authenticity. When a leader is able to show that they're not perfect, that allows their employees to not be perfect, and that frees everybody up to do their best.
One behavior that destroys trust.
It's being dishonest. Even if it's not to you directly, if I see somebody that treats someone else in a dishonest way, it makes me wonder, are you being completely honest with me? So I think you've got to make sure that you're being truthful with people.
One mistake leaders make in relationships.
That they feel like they have to be this all-powerful leader. I've got to have all the answers. I can't be wrong. I'm the final word on everything, and it doesn't matter what you say. So I think just not being open to other people's ideas, too.
One habit to strengthen team culture.
I believe that is having regularly scheduled those one-on-one meetings I mentioned earlier, as well as team meetings, because then a leader could keep their finger on the pulse of the team and know what's going on and help to make the adjustments that they need to make to keep that strong culture.
Yep. One word that defines great leadership.
One word that describes great leadership, I would say trust.
Trust. Love that. One mindset shift for long-term success.
That would be to let go as a leader, and that is to let your people do what they need to do, to recognize that you don't know everything and you're not always the best at everything, and to be comfortable sharing success with your team.
Awesome. What does being an empowered entrepreneur mean to you?
It means being able to let go. It means being able to give your team the authority to make decisions. Doesn't mean giving away control, but it means feeling comfortable that other people can do things as well or better than you.
Love that. Okay, Ken, this has been an amazing episode. Very informative, I'll say, what's the right word? I'll say empowering for people to be better leaders, to be better people, and on top of that, a better human being at the end of the day. In saying that, we have to end it, but most probably we'll see you maybe in the next season of our show, right?
Thank you.
We love people who share great ideas, right? And that's our goal. So everyone who was there on the show, make sure you made notes, make sure you share with someone who might be able to hear it, and make sure you take action on what Ken suggested. And try to contact him. I put all his information below. It's always good to, get information from people who have already had that experience, right? So in saying that, thanks again for being on the show, Ken. And
Thank you for having me again.
to go today. Success isn't for the chosen few. It's for those who choose to show up, take action, and never back down. This is the Empower Entrepreneur, hosted by Rohit Soni, airing across 185 countries, 26 plus TV networks, and 100 plus podcast stations. You've heard the strategies, you've seen the mindset. Now it's time to execute. I'll see you next week, every Thursday at 5 p.m. Pacific and 8 p.m. Eastern. Go, build, dominate. Until next time, stay empowered.